Hello everyone and welcome back to Trainz. We are on the Barclay Super Granary route module here, and you will notice something a little bit different. Yes, this is Trainz 2019. I finally upgraded to the latest software. I saw N3V was having a sale on Trainz A New Era. They marked it down for like $5, and I was like, man, that's a really tempting offer. So I went to their website and I looked, and so I could get the Platinum Edition for like $30. Which included a bunch of expansions and things like that, and I thought, oh, that was really good. And then I saw that 2019, the Platinum Edition, was $50, and I thought that was actually really reasonable for the Platinum Edition of the game. Got a whole bunch of assets, some expansions, some payware DLC, and longer support. That was the big thing, because this is the newest version. It's going to be supported for a longer period of time than a new era is going to. So I went and got it. There are a few features in 19 that I liked more than Trainz A New Era, and I decided to upgrade. I usually upgrade these games maybe once every 6 or 7 years, because I went from 2004 to 2012 actually. I did have a copy of 2006 that I got from a local library once, but I don't really count that as upgrading since I kind of got it for free. So I used that for a while. But 12 was really good, and 19 is actually not too bad. So here we're building a farm, and you can see we're actually using the Turf FX, which was one of the main reasons I liked to get Trainz. Was the Trainz 2019 was the Turf FX, but I found that Turf FX is really freaking complicated. The ability to control where you're placing your turf effects is not very good, and there are no presets as far as the type of turf that you want to lay down, so you actually have to go in and custom make every single grass or stone or shrubbery or whatever you place down, which was really obnoxious. So add some presets, please. It would really help out. So this video, we're actually going to see a lot of detailing and a lot of beautification. Like this. This was a neighborhood I just kind of put some simple splines into and kind of half-efforted it. And I went out and found these individual houses, took some inspiration from some small towns out in the Midwest to kind of make a more realistic neighborhood. And that's going to be kind of a continuing theme of this episode, is adding details. We're pretty much to the point in this route where we're just adding some scenery details to make it look prototypical and realistic, because believe it or not, we're actually getting pretty close to releasing this route, and I'm really excited about that. That's been a goal that I've had for a long time, is to make something releasable that people can enjoy. I'm not going to give you a date. There's still a lot of stuff that has to be done. I am testing the route extensively. I need to come up with a few sessions so you have some stuff to do. Excuse me. So you have some stuff to do, trains to run, things like that. I'm also making kind of an endless game that you can play, just repeatedly refilling industries every, few minutes or something like that. But there's still a lot of testing that has to happen. Still a lot of troubleshooting. Like in my recent test, I found that one of the speed limit signs was placed incorrectly, and you were going 10 miles an hour for like 5 miles, and that's boring. We don't want that. So yeah, here we are adding in some trucks, and we learned that trucks, cars, shrubs, trees, people, it just really adds a lot of life to the town, and that is something that was missing earlier. And yeah, so just adding cars to the driveway, the variety of cars, add a U-Haul truck, maybe somebody's moving into this house, add a Ford Crown Victoria, add some people at the Taco Bell. You can't tell me there's nobody at a Taco Bell. So, adding some people, adding some things. Trainz 2019 with the updated game, I can do some updated assets, and one of those is TRC crossings. TRC is an alternative to the ATLS crossing system, and the big benefit that is the reason I'm implementing it on this route is it works really well with places where the trains stop, where they switch, where they change directions over the crossing. The TRC system beats ATLS hands down. I wouldn't say it's simpler to use, but for this application and this route is a switching module. I mean, you could integrate it into a bigger route, but basically the purpose of this route is you are in a town in the Midwest United States along the main line that has some industries that you switch out in this short little railroad that goes right through this little town. And there's a lot of switching challenges, small industries. You're not driving 100-car intermodal trains on this. You're just not doing that. That's not how it's designed. So, yeah, it's a fun little route. And so, yeah, we're basically just adding details at this point. Putting houses here along the power plant. I realized the power plant just kind of was left out in the middle of nowhere. So we're adding in trees, moving them around, making it so the yards look somewhat prototypical, which is a really, actually was a really good way of putting houses in, because that's how they do it in real life. You go into the forest and you cut down a bunch of trees and you add a house. So it just adds to the immersion and the feel of a prototype. So adding some cars and things in, giving each of these people, a little livelihood, everything like that. So adding some shrubberies to give some life. So right here what I'm doing is I'm adding in a module because it was too apparent that the route just ended like a model railroad. I didn't want to do that. I wanted something that looked like it fit in with the rest of the earth. And so a quick way of doing that without having to add like 2 or 3 baseboards, because looking at some of these Trainz payware routes, they add so many baseboards beyond the track just for scenery, and I don't have the patience for that. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to add a large hill at the end, and we'll just drag the road around, make it look realistic, nothing crazy. Don't make it look like a giant ridge or mountain or anything like that unless that's the area you're modeling. And then adding a bunch of trees just so it obscures the edge of the layout from the cab view or the first person view. I mean, if you do overhead flying view or the chase cam view, you're going to see the edge of the layout, and that's fine. So yeah, now we're replacing the parking lot because with Trainz 2019, you get these new procedurally based rendering textures. I think that's what they're called, PBR. And it just made the old parking lot texture look terrible. It looked awful. So, and then these SAP modern car parks, phenomenal assets, highly detailed. They fit in with the United States fairly well. Era, they're a little outdated as far, because I'm doing like a modern era, a little outdated. So yeah, and then modify the grocery store over here. I decided not to modify the grocery store parking lot because that's too much work, and I don't feel like doing it. Maybe I'll come to it later. So yeah, just adding some trees and some other things into the area, really, really updating. I mean, look at that. Just adding that shrubbery into the yard just gives it a whole new sense of immersion. It's absolutely incredible. You can see the large grain train there. One of the things I actually kind of like about Trainz 2019 is this one, since it's a Platinum Edition, I can jump between driver and surveyor mode willy-nilly. So, it allows me to drive and test stuff basically immediately, and then when I quit out of it, it saves the trains where they are, and when I save the route, it saves the trains where they are, so I could come in here and be like, alright, we're going to test the power plant. And so I plant a train, do it for the power plant, and then I take it to the power plant, do all the switching and stuff like that. I'm done, fully tested, and the train is left exactly where I had left it. So then I can put another one in and say, okay, how would this interact with that? And everything like that. It's really, really cool. So let's see. Got about 5 or 6 minutes left in the video, something like that. So I'm just going to keep talking instead of finding silly music. So again, putting in some TRC crossings. Lots of trial and error with these because that's just how Trainz works. You have to do a lot of trial and error. But you can see just adding the barriers and things. If you remember the past videos, this gas station looked like it was just out there in the sticks and didn't really have a purpose. So now it actually looks like it's included in the surrounding community. So yeah, just kind of previewing around. Then we're going to add our controllers, and we're going to do this crossing. I thought about keeping ATLS, but sometimes, depending on how long your train is, it might interact with it. So I decided to move it out of the way. So now we are just flying around looking to detail the granary. This route is focused around this granary. Believe it or not, that's what the original focus of this route is. It kind of got entangled away from it. with the cool stuff you can do in the town. So making this area populated was kind of important. So we're just adding in some touches and things like that. So saving the game. Let's see, now we're going to add in some more parking lots because the McDonald's over here, I hadn't detailed anything like that, or the hotel or anything. So we're just going to add some final details in here. Nothing else really spectacular. So at this point, I'm going to end the narration and the video here. And, you know, it's really coming along great. I'm very excited as to how this is turning out. And it's actually becoming a fully fledged route. That is amazing. So keep following along. I hope you've enjoyed the journey so far, as this route has really started from nothing and has turned into something. And we'll see you in the next video.